Celestial Birds. What a pleasure it is to speak to you, and thank you for taking the time to do this today. We'll start off nice and simply, and we'll go around the room. So we'll start with Andy, we'll go to Tom, we'll go to Matt, and basically start with just simply this. How are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been the weather's been considerably less warm of late, so that's good. And yeah, just really psyched now. About 3 weeks till the album comes out, so it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. I've appreciated the rain in the last few weeks, so I'm a big fan of rain. But yeah, I'm just excited for the album to come out. It's been a big build up. It's going to be like almost a relief once it comes out.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy sort of ride, I think, for us. I mean, for Tom especially, who's been kind of coordinating everything that's been going on. The hundreds of emails. There's an email chain that I think is the longest email chain that I've ever seen between Tom and Chris at the label, and it's been really fantastic to. It was fantastic to record the album with everybody. I mean, that was the thing that was the big thing for me. Was getting to record an awesome album with my favorite people, and well, some of my favorite people. My wife wasn't on it, but other than her, my favorite people in the world, you know. And now seeing people are listening to it, and the positive feedback and the excitement leading up to that, and of course, us getting to play Arctangent. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We're all very excited, I think.
I'm glad to hear this. I'm glad to hear this because we are, well, over halfway through the year now, and at least it's been a busy one for you. When you reflect on the past half of this year, 2023, are you satisfied with what you've accomplished so far? Starting with you again, Andy.
Probably, yeah. I'm bowled over with how it's gone so far. When this project first started, it was because I was bored on a week off, and I didn't expect it to be anything more than 4 songs just recorded just over there in my front room. And if anyone listened to it, great. I didn't think, well, it's now 4 years later because COVID got in the way for a good 2 years of it. I didn't think we'd be in a position where nearly every gig we do is supporting a band that is like a bucket list band for us. And you know, being on things like this, you know, you don't think these kind of things should have, you know, it's that imposter syndrome, isn't it? You always think, oh, it shouldn't happen to me. It should be all these other bands. But yeah, the whole getting to play Arctangent thing, if you'd have told me 4 years ago when we did that recording in my front room that we'd be playing Arctangent, I'd have laughed in your face. I wouldn't have ever believed it.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, this year is everything's, well, it's gone pretty quickly. I mean, like Andy said, when we got asked to play Arctangent back in February, so that's kind of really given us a kick in the backside to get everything moving. Because I mean, if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't be releasing the album for another 6 months or something like that. So just, you know, when you've got a deadline, it's kind of like it really gets you motivated, and I think that's really helped us out just to be focused and get everything done. And I'm really pleased of how far we've managed to get just in the last 6 months, really.
Well, how much of that has been down to you sort of putting extra shifts in, really? Because myself and Matt, realistically, as soon as the recording was finished, we were like, yeah, we're done. So it's been you that's been doing the management side of things.
How about you, Matt? Reflect on 2023?
It's a good year, isn't it? It's nice to it's nice to feel like things are normal again. I think like last year it still felt like everything was a bit weird and COVID-y. Like, and this year not only are things normal, but yeah, it's been awesome for us. And I don't know, like I can't add too much to what the guys have already said. Playing a lot of excellent gigs with fantastic bands. More of that to come. Going to be an excellent time on Arctangent. But everything so far has been fantastic. Getting to record with Joe at No Studio was was a real dream for us. And hearing what he's done with the album has been fantastic. Just want it to continue, really. Just hoping that the rest of the year is gonna go as well as the first half.
That London gig was a highlight, wasn't it? That London show in January was like a really good way to kick off the year of things, because we didn't know how that was going to be, and it was a really good turnout. All the bands were great, the crowd were great. It was just a really nice day all round, really. So it was nice to get the year off to a really good start with that. And
playing London as well, like it's something that I think you don't necessarily know how it's going to go. Like obviously, inside City, I imagine there's a good number of post-rock fans about, but to see the turnout at that gig really was, like Andy's saying, a really good start to the year, and boosted our confidence, I think, going forward, and really helped set things up for what's been a great time.
I'm glad you can reflect on the past 6 to 7 months in such a positive way, because ultimately we are so close to what is going to be even more positive experiences. So we have, of course, a few weeks time, the release of your debut album, The Night Is for Dreamers. Are you at this stage now where you're kind of just not sick of it, but you just want it out? You just want it out in the world, standing its own 2 feet? Or are you still really enjoying the ride and the build that comes with releasing an album?
It's a really odd one, because you'd think, so some of those songs were written maybe August of 2019. Right. And the intention was to do a second EP reasonably quick, and then COVID got in the way and things sort of changed. And then we did, I don't know what you call it, like a song sort of off the cuff in lockdown, just to sort of try and keep things, building a bit of momentum, because she couldn't gig. And we did Laureate of American Lowlife, and our vision of that when we first did it was that probably won't go on an album or anything. We just liked the song. We just wanted to get it out there. And it got such a great response from so many people. It kind of felt like that was the big sort of coming out, and not the first EP. That was the point where people started to pay attention, and it made sense from so much positivity that came from it, because Joe contacted us off the back of that to want to record with us, and we got a bunch of gig requests off the back of it. It made sense for that to then be part of that album going forward, so that sort of changed plans quite a bit. But you'd think after all that time, like you say, you'd be sick of it, but I genuinely am with this. I am my own biggest fan. I've never been with any of the. I mean, I've been making music maybe since I was 15. I'm 42 soon. I've always been sort of like my own biggest critic when it comes to anything that I've done. But everything that we've done collectively as this band is just, I'm always bowled over by how great they all are. Matt with his multiple instruments. I'm so impressed with what Vince on drums brings to everything, because he is the most laid back man on the planet, and yet he's got so much in him for what he provides in the engine room, as it were. I love the guys. I think that's the main thing now, is just sort of, I'm making music that I'd be a fan of if it was any other band, and I'm making it with 4 of the most important people that I've ever known. So it hasn't grown old. There's no song off that album that I'd skip now. It becomes a nightmare when you're in that position where you only get like 30-40 minute sets, and you've got to pick a set that you want to pick, and you don't want to drop anything. But also as well, because I spend a lot of the time, I've already written maybe 10 songs towards what will happen next. So because I'm listening to them all the time when I'm just recording and demoing, and coming back to these kind of things just makes you, they feel fresh again.
Incredible. How about you, Tom? Where's your head at with it right now?
I think, well, I mean, the past few months have all been quite a lot of more the boring side, the admin, getting it all, like ordering it all, this kind of stuff. So when I do, that gets a bit tiring after a while. But when I sit down and go, actually, I'm going to listen to it, I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds great. Can't wait to listen to this. And like when the first single came out, Downpour, and that day when it came out and people started listening to it, I was like, oh yes, this is why we did this, so people can actually enjoy it. But no, I'm definitely maybe not every day, but when I practice all the songs to play live, I'm just like, yes, I enjoy playing these. You wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it, and I'm just like, yes, and I just enjoy every moment of it, really.
I'm glad to hear that. How about you then, Matt?
I think it's just been great. I've really enjoyed the process this year of getting everything ready for album release. I mean, like we've already said, recording at no studio was amazing, and then after that, starting to talk with the label and stuff about release, and getting Frenchie on board from oh my god, I've forgotten.
Yeah, he's PR Trail.
PR Trail, thank you. I was like PR. Getting Frenchie on board from PR Trail, and just seeing like the amazing work that these guys do to position you for a successful release, and learning about that process is really fascinating. And I think probably for some bands who if that's been your career for like 10-20 years or whatever, it probably is boring, but really enjoyed learning about it. I've really enjoyed going through the process, and seeing how everything sort of shapes up into into what it is. And I love listening to the tracks. I'm really excited for everybody else to listen to them. There are some tracks on the album that it's hard to pick singles, right? It's hard to pick what are the few tracks that we're gonna drop ahead of the album. And I'm so excited for some of the tracks that people that they haven't heard yet. There are tracks that people haven't even heard live yet, right? So we've played a fair bit of the album live, but there are some tracks there that they haven't heard live yet either, and I think it's just going to be fantastic, and I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to start playing them live as well, but I think it's also good to hold a few back,
What you said there as well, we've played some of them live, and the reactions we've got at least one song that seems to make a lot of people cry when we play it live. So I'm interested to see how that one pans out when it comes out on the album.
That's very interesting. I'm going to stop you there because we are going to be talking about tracks in a little bit, and I have 3 particularly that I'm going to be pulling out, and I'm wondering if one of them might be the one that matches up with the tears from a live crowd. But before then, gents, I want to tell you that last night, I'm a night shifts. I'm working 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. And last night I got to work and I said, right, got the interview tomorrow. I've got the album in my inbox. Let's put it on and get a feel for things. 7 hours later, I was still listening to it over and over again. And not blowing smoke up your ass to say this is one of the best things released this year, will be released this year. You have absolutely nailed this. It is an incredible piece of work, and to see your vision become reality and what is here on this record is simply stunning. So I want you to kind of just give me an overview of how you turned that vision, what you wanted to do initially, into what it is now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's a real odd one. Myself and Tom, we drive to a lot of the places together because we're all split up around the country a bit. So me and Tom spend an awful lot of time just talking to each other in the van. And I always said that I thought a lot of it felt like happy accidents, whereas Tom sort of disagrees with some of that, because there is a lot of hard work that goes into it, especially from Tom's side of things with how much sort of non-musical stuff he does for us as well. But a lot of it sort of did just sort of feel natural's probably not the right word either, but it just kind of everything just fell into place. There was no difficulty with anything. No, each song that we've had, we've demoed and sort of ironed out all the creases way before we've considered recording it, and they get panned backwards and forwards between us, just home recording. So they've always been sort of really well prepared, but there's been very few changes to things, like really any big changes to structure or anything made. there's been some deviations from things, but nothing massive. But they were, I think the thing that made them feel like they were going to work as an album is they were the ones that when a demo of them was done, you sort of felt, yeah, that's good to go. That's going to sound great. And it weren't one of those, that just needs a bit of work and it'll be fine. It was just sort of like, it was one of those ones where you could feel the smile coming across your face as you heard the demo of it before you'd even moved beyond that, which I think was something that Chris from the label got the vibe of as well, because he felt the same. Like he loved the demos before we'd even recorded the album. So it was good to have him being so into it as well.
I think conversely, one of the things that we did compared to the track we did over lockdown, we never got to play that at all. So I think one of the things I was quite keen on doing was making sure we at least like let the song grow a little. I mean, the songs didn't change that much after they were written, but we let them grow, and we allowed each of us to have our own mark on it. So it doesn't feel like
changes of effects and sort of like this, just sort of like tweaks of how it should be played, rather than it just being played exactly the same as the demo kind of thing.
So going back to our first EP, the EP that Andy originally wrote. I mean, all the songs in there I love, but it does very, very much feel that's, Andy wrote and recorded those, so they're kind of here. But now for this album, it very much feels like us, which one of the things I'm really pleased about.
I mean, one of the big things that changed, I guess, is that Matt's bass line changed from a lot of the demos, because Matt's a much more competent bass player than the rest of us. So, but with that, like, you always felt like anything that changed there, I mean, especially the bass line in Utopia and the bass line in Downpour, just made the song better than it already was, which is what you want, really, when a change gets made.
There were some questionable suggestions on my part. I have to, like, they're being very nice, but I definitely made some questionable suggestions, and the right choice was made in the end to go with things that suited the song. I do get carried away.
Individually, then, what for you was a particular challenging aspect of making the record?
2 days solid of tracking guitars without a break. I think which was 2 days solid of tracking guitars without a break after I'd done damage to my arms. So that was, it came keen. Did that? It definitely wasn't the most fun of 2 whole days. But on the flip side of that, doing that, I think strengthened them quicker than it would have been if I'd have taken me time about it.
Wow.
I think that's actually, like, just recording an album, it sounds like it should be really fun, and writing an album is really fun, and playing the songs off the album is really fun. But recording an album where you're like, I have this much time, I have to nail everything that I'm tracking right now, is challenging. It definitely turns it more into it's fun for some of it, but it can get very grueling very quickly.
Especially seeing Vince sort of destroy himself doing those drum tracks.
Vince had the hardest time of any of us by it. Yeah, I mean, the poor guy, like he came on board however many weeks before the album, something like
about 5, maybe something like that.
Yeah, 5 or 6, I think. And we were basically, because he's a really good friend of ours. We've all played in bands with him previously.
He filled in for us once before live, briefly as well.
Yeah, the first time he played with us was in Nottingham in August last year. And so naturally, we got in touch with him and we were like, hey, do you want to come and record the album? And he basically had zero qualms with it. Like, he was immediately like, yes. And I had to kind of be like, are you sure? Like, when we wanted it to be the best that we could make it, which meant that we were putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, right? And we needed to make sure that he was happy with that pressure being put on him. We were gonna expect a lot from him, basically, and he had a very short amount of time to deliver that. And he absolutely smashed it out the park. Like, it was insane. The poor guy, like, 8 hours a day drumming 2 days in a row. I mean, maybe 9, I think, the second. I
Yeah,
can't.
we ran over by 2 hours on the first day, didn't we? So
And then we did a gig the day after.
yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did a gig the day
On the
after,
third day,
and
we did a gig third day, and yeah.
yeah, he is an absolute hero. Yeah.
How about you, Tom? Challenging.
Putting up with me.
Well, no. I just think it's just, I don't know. I find it hard to see the challenges in a sense. I think it's I mean, there are days when you can test your own patience at points, but I think I'm very much like a long term kind of goal person, so I can go, well, if I can get through today, it's fine. But I know, like I said, tracking was quite tough work because we didn't give ourselves that much time. I think all the challenges that we have come across, I think if we get to album 2, I'll be like, let's do this differently.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Learning.
been very much. I think we've very much learned from all the maybe difficulties that we've had for anything we do in the future, we can go, yes, let's do this differently. Not that we've done anything bad, but
you allow yourself some breathing room and stuff for things, haven't you? Although we also, like, I guess one thing that was a challenge was the second day of tracking the guitars when the studio stopped working for about 2 hours, and we ended up going for lunch, and in that time Joe managed to be a magician and fix it, but we still to this day don't know what had stopped working there. It was we were reamping the guitars, and for some reason the recording, I think he's used Pro Tools. I think it was recording sound ahead of it receiving the sound, and we have no idea how that works logically.
Okay. All right, taken out, but now let's flip it around to the more positive aspects. And I want you to tell me something that you particularly enjoyed from the entire process, be it writing, recording, mixing, whatever it is. And also, if during this process you learned anything new about yourself.
Positives would be hearing the final track with a full band on it, rather than just my demo with EZdrummer. Gave me chills, and I was really happy with how it finally turned out. My fake choir on this Transient Spring sort of sounding a lot better than than a fake choir should do. But yeah, one
very
thing
convincing.
It was a £29 plugin. So the wonders of cheap plugins. I think one thing I learned was that I always used to think I was a really sloppy guitarist because I'm not. I've had no music training or anything. In fact, before I met Tom, I don't actually think I knew fully what my guitar was tuned to. So I always found that I was a sloppy person when it came to my performing. But after spending 2 days tracking the guitars, Tom told me I was the human metronome. So I felt a bit better about that.
Fantastic.
I think for me, I mean, the best thing about the whole thing has just been, being able to do something I'm really proud of with, my best friends, really. Like I've known, how long have I known Andy now for now?
About 13 years, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I went to school with Matt and Chris, so so it's just great to keep doing stuff with them. But as for the things I've learned, I mean, working with Joe in the studio, he's a great engineer, and just watching him, it's just like, I've been doing this wrong for years. But he's just watching this process, and you can just learn so much just when I was there, even though we weren't there for that long. But it was great to learn.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've learned a tremendous amount from Joe. I've learned a tremendous amount from from Chris at the label and Frenchie at PR Trail. I've learned a tremendous amount from the guys, from playing with them, from working together on the album, from Tom. Tom has superhuman amounts of patience, and And his ability to drive this project forward has been crucial. Like Tom and Andy are the two most important people in this band. Everybody's important, but without these guys, like, we would not be making noise for people to listen to, and we certainly wouldn't be putting out an album. And so yeah, always learning from those guys, echoing what these guys have said. Hearing how the tracks have come out has been fantastic. Working together has been fantastic. On a less serious note, there was a point when we were tracking drums where like Vince was really struggling. It was on the second day, so this is like after almost 2 entire days of really going for it. And I like disappeared into the live room for a minute, and nobody could see what was going on, but like there was like a sort of a kind of clapping sound. Oh, my cat is terrified by that. Rightly so. And I came out of the live room. I went into the control room, and the guys are just looking at me, and like Vince goes and sits back down at the drum kit, and they're like, "Did you just slap him?" And I had to explain that I hadn't, and that high five. I gave him a pep talk and like a 10 up top, and I just remember that being a highlight. I think Vince had a little bit more energy after that. I managed to finish the thing, but I did not slap him, I promise. So.
All right, guys, let's focus on specific tracks. I want to pull some out that really capture my imagination. 3 in particular. So take this as you want. If someone wants to speak more than the others, feel free to. Kind of focusing specifically on what you were aiming to do with these tracks. So let's start with Utopia, as it is the opener. And it is one hell of a fascinating opener. A smile-inducing start to the album. So yeah, talk to me about that track, what you were aiming for here.
Bizarrely, it was, I say a joke, it's not a joke per se, but my dad, he loves music, and he said, you write nothing but miserable songs. I bet you can't write something that's got a bit of happiness to it. So it became my desire at that point for us to put together a short, snappy and quite uplifting song to start the album, almost in like a false sense of security before it starts to get a bit darker. And so that was the intention with that, to have all those sort of I don't know, that sort of slightly sort of 80s camp sounding synths at the beginning, to give it that sort of like montage vibe kind of thing, like, you know, like somebody training, and or, you know, your old 80s John Hughes style high school films. It was intentionally to have that kind of thing and give this sort of air of sort of triumph or positivity to go with it. And that's why it's got bouncy riffs in it, and it's all in a major key up until right at the end, and then it shifts to minor, which is when it starts to sort of prefix that it's going to go dark now. So it was an intentional thing for that to always be the opening track as well.
Was there a point, do you remember a specific point where, okay, so you're challenged with writing a happy song, as it were, a more upbeat track? Was there a point you remember where it became, like you say, less of a joke and actually became oh wow, this is going to work and this is going to go on the album?
Yeah, so this on the intro, there's when these synths are doing all the arpeggiated bit, there's 3 guitars doing 3 different things. So when the first part of it was written, the part that goes down the middle was written, it's sort of like, I was still sort of seeing it as that's still, you know, it got that sort of, like say, that 80s vibe. But then the way that the 2 guitars on either speaker sort of bridged across each other, sort of, I don't know, it kind of gave it this sort of weird, slight melancholy despite the cheerfulness, and then it felt like it was right at that point. It didn't feel so much like a joke or a parody or anything at that point. It kind of felt like that person you portray when you know you feel glum deep inside, but you've got to be happy in front of your friends. And it became like the musical equivalent of that, like the plastering on a fake smile to get to get through the day so that no one thinks there's anything wrong behind your eyes. And I think that was the point where I started to take it a bit more seriously.
The end result speaks for itself. It's an incredible start, but we are talking about an incredible album here. And I've got to now talk about it's the one I think people will know the most, because of course it is Laureate of American Lowlife. With this, basically, where does the interest in author Charles Bukowski's writing come from?
He is, if you pardon me language, he's a miserable shit, and he was he was proud of being a miserable shit, and I think that's a lot of musicians can identify with that, and a lot of people in general could probably identify with that, that we shouldn't be ashamed of being miserable and wanting to sometimes be on his own. We should celebrate that we're not, smiley glad hands every 2 minutes. That was my take from that and I felt the music, and a lot of work went into doing the structure of the music, because it was originally 16 minutes long. So it was an awful lot edited out of it before it got to the stage where it is, where we put a lot of thought into the peaks and troughs, because I thought it was sort of like the duality of people, the lighter bits where you are sort of like, actually now I can be around, but I feel human today. I'm not a miserable shit today. I am going to see the positivity in things. I'm going to let the daylight in. I'm going to open the curtains. And then there's the heavier, darker bits, which is actually when that other part of you takes over and you think, no, actually, I'm going to embrace the miserable shit and push everyone away for a bit. And I think that I think that's something that 99% of the population can identify with, feeling like that sometimes you just don't want to be an entertainer or a person. You just want to be left alone.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Finally, let's talk then about I Love You, But It Is Killing Me. Now, first things first, got to go back. Is this the track that creates the tears in the live crowd? Yeah, figured as much. Oh, of course it is the closer. And there's a lot of deep meaning behind this. I guess I want to ask you, provided you're willing to kind of go into it, really, where this comes from. Is it more of an external thing, or does it come from more internal factors?
I won't name names because they might not enjoy it. I've got a very close friend who is on-off recovering alcoholic, and that song was written after a very torrid weekend of having to look after them in a very bad state, and then having them have to go and stay back with their parents. And bearing in mind, this person's in their 40s, so it was quite a big regression for them to go back to their parents. And then said friend calling me saying, I feel like I'm putting a massive burden on my parents. They're arguing with each other because they don't know what to do about me. So that song came almost as a thing of, we all absolutely love her to pieces, but it something needs to change because it's killing everyone else as well as her. So that the line of, your mother and I are separating is that sort of that end point of where it could be for somebody who's not her. And it's not to sort of shame her or anything. It's that thing of it's almost sort of like the musical equivalent of an intervention of, this is where things could go if you don't start to look after yourself.
It is incredibly strong and powerful track. It's going to resonate with many, many people, even if you've never experienced or had any experience of what you're talking and what you're dealing with there. It does cut through ultimately. So it's no surprise that it is getting that effect live. Swinging around back to kind of what we mentioned at the start. Arctangent, of course. Album comes out, Arctangent shortly afterwards. I'm going to get to see you play there, because this is the first year I'm going to Arctangent. Never been before, decided to do it this year. So I'm stoked that you're there as well. The Bixler stage on Friday.
Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, is it Thursday? That's my bad. Okay. But it is the Bixler stage, isn't it? At least I got that part right. Yes, fantastic. Thursday, of course. I forget Arctangent is Wednesday to Saturday, not Sunday included. Got Bloodstock the week before, and it's a bit more normal like that. Right. this festival, playing it. Of course, you've kind of sort of suggested already that it means a lot for you to play this festival. But sum up, for someone who's never seen you live, sum up what the experience can be like and what we can expect from you at Tangent.
I think we always put on quite a high energy show. I mean, obviously the music's not that, we're not like a hardcore band or anything, but I think we always tried to, you know, put the emotion in the songs through our playing, you know, and put that into the show, you know. But on the other hand, we're always enjoying ourselves. That's one comment we always get. It's like, you guys look like you're enjoying yourselves a lot. I don't know if that's like a backhanded compliment, because they want to say, they're like, oh, you look like you're enjoying yourselves. But no, I think people mean it.
Yeah.
But you know, I think we try to, you know, we don't take ourselves too seriously on stage. We're not like, you know, looking down on their feet all the time.
My friend Paul said that we were like a bunch of hyperactive toddlers who'd had too much sugar.
Okay.
Well, our aim for Right Tangent is to wake you up, because it's going to be 11:30 in the morning. So
yeah, we want to get people sort of up and partying. There's going to be bouncy riffs. There's going to be some big synths. There's going to be a lot of very nice, intricate, heavy, and quiet guitar parts. And yeah, we hope that people are going to be out there bouncing along, nodding along, enjoying the happy bits and appreciating the sad bits.
And we fit in quite a bit as well because we don't talk.
Perfect. Just get through, yeah? You haven't got enough time, really, yeah.
No.
Do you have the set list done? Are you prepared with this? Yeah,
we've got the set list ready to go. Yeah, just bash them out one after another. Otherwise, it'll be just going, hey up, we're Dennis Lost Your Birds. And that's always awkward, isn't it? Just people want to hear the songs, so just bash them out.
Yeah,
go on.
I was just going to say, we put together a set that we think will go down really well at High Tangent, and obviously with the time constraints in mind and wanting to show the best of the album in mind, as well as wanting something that's going to really help kick off the Bixler stage at the festival as well as we can. I think people are going to love it.
Are you there all weekend? Are you staying around all weekend?
Yeah, we'll be there Wednesday to Saturday, so you have to come say hello.
Oh, for sure. But I'm not can quiz you a little bit more. Give me a couple of bands that you know are on the lineup that you think people should check out.
Oh, check out Hidden Mothers.
Yeah, absolutely. Hidden Mothers and Wallowing for sure.
Yep. Amazing bands.
I'm trying to think who else is playing.
Gold.
Oh, Gold.
Yeah.
Gold, as I like to call them.
I'm super excited for them. I've never seen them live before.
I think the big one for me is Cave In. I have been a massive Cave In fan since their first album. I've seen them in a bunch of pub basements way back in the day, and they are one of the reasons why I make music. And I think Stephen Brodsky is one of the reasons why I play guitar the way I do. So they're a big one for me. I will probably be down the front crying and causing a mosh pit.
Amazing. It's going to be an incredible festival, and it's wonderful that you fit in so well there. It's you on that bill just looks right.
Thank you.
There are a lot of bird-themed bands, so I guess it does.
Yeah, of course, because Birds and Row are there as well.
And Poisonous Birds, I think there's somebody on the bill as well.
Yeah. Just having a look now, and of course I can't see any of the.
It's a slight double celebration as well, because I've got some friends coming over from Ireland who I haven't seen for quite so. I haven't seen Sean for probably about a decade now, and the same as his sister, and their younger brother Tom. I haven't seen him since he was at school, and these days he's a scientist, so that's been some time.
That's incredible. It's incredible. So that's going to keep you busy throughout the first half of August. What might be keeping you busy as we reach the end of the year? Do you have any other plans in place for the remainder of 2023 that you can talk about?
I think we're in the process of organising some shows,
Mm-hmm.
which are to be discussed in once we know more. I think we'll have a live session going up somewhere at some point online. So look out
Maybe.
for that.
Maybe.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
It is
Who
recorded.
knows? Who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
Definitely want to play some more shows.
That's not been announced yet, but I'm sure. We'll
Do you
post
want me
it
to
on
cut
the-
that bit out?
No, that's fine. We haven't said where it is yet, so it's fine.
No, fair enough. We'll leave it there and just stick to your socials to find out what's going on there. Finally, guys, what would you hope? And this is just really, it's incredibly personal when they think, what do you hope to achieve with The Night Is for Dreamers? When you reflect in a year and a half time, 2 years down the line, you look back at it, what do you hope your feelings will be?
For me, I would just like one person to say they connected with it, and I've kind of got that already from your words at the start when you said that you listened to it. So for me, it's already achieved.
I guess for me, like I said earlier, I just got to do this project with my friends. So honestly, I don't care if anybody listens to it. I just had a great time with all my friends, and I will look back at it and be like, oh yeah, that was great. But it's also a bonus that other people like it too. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hope that it's the first of more things to come. Working with these guys, writing more songs, playing more gigs.
And it's been nice to sort of have something sort of, if you will, kept within the family, because the artwork was done by Tom's wife, Alice, and she comes to a lot of gigs with us and sort of works quite close with us. So it made sense for somebody who knows us so well and knows the songs in and out to represent it visually, sort of like properly like that, rather than going to somebody who we've not heard before and trying to explain an idea to them and seeing where it goes.
Well, the artwork is phenomenal. It is an incredible piece of art. The Night Is for Dreamers, August 11th. And of course, Arctangent, a few days later on the, look at that, there it is, on Thursday, Bixler stage in the morning. Can't wait to see you guys there. Can't wait to level his album. I think it's going to be blowing everyone's mind. And congratulations on what you achieved up to this point, guys. Thank you so much for taking time to do this.
Thank you for talking to us. Yeah.
It's been lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?